alpha corrections, or correction. There's only one exercise. Okay, let's take this exercise apart. You manage a department in a large corporation. 2 years ago, you had 20 workers and they produced 40,000 units. The company allocated 10 more workers to your department last year, and output increased to 45,000. You just received a memo from your boss indicating that he is very concerned about the 500 unit fall in the average productivity of your workers. Is it your fault? Of course not. How can you defend yourself? Fully explain your answer in essay form. But let me do the math first, okay? So again, as I pointed out, it's not your fault. So let's see. A production approach. K, L, Q, MPL, and APL. So let's see. What are we to assume here in regards to capital? Well, whatever capital is, it has not increased. In other words, your boss committed to your department 10 extra workers, but he did not give you more capital. So capital did not change. All right, let's assume it's one piece of machinery. One. All right. Now, labor. Well, you started with 20 workers, and now you have 30 workers. 20 workers produced how many units? 40,000 units. 30 workers are producing 45,000 units, right? Yeah. Now, first let's calculate NPL. It's not a question about NPL, but let's do it anyway. So NPL is equal to the change in quantity divided by the change in the number of workers. All right. So the change in quantity is what? You went from 40,000 units to 45,000 units. So the change is 5,000 units. All right. Okay. Now, what is the change in, the change in L? What is the change in L? Well, it's 10, isn't it? Right? So this becomes 5,000 divided by 10. So what is NPL? NPL is 500. Okay? All right, but this question is not about NPL, is it? It's about APL. All right? Not that the two are not related, they are obviously. Now, APL, average product of labor, is equal to quantity produced divided by the number of workers. All right, so let's see. Initially, how many units were produced? 40,000 units. And how many workers were there? 20. All right, so what was the initial APL? It was 2,000. All right, now APL, quantity divided by labor. Quantity divided by labor. All right. So how many workers do you have now? 45. Excuse me, not how many workers, but how many units have you produced? 45,000 units. Then how many workers do you have? You have 30 workers, right? So what is the average product to labor? It's 1,500. So what happened to your average productivity? It has gone from 2,000 to 1,500. So it's a decrease in 500. And who's your boss blaming? He's blaming you. Well, it's not your fault. Why not? Well, as most of you pointed out, it is not your fault because while he did increase your labor force from 20 to 30, he did not increase the capital. So the mismatch became even more pronounced, right? Labor increased and capital stayed the same. So who are we to blame? Well, the who is obviously your boss. What are we to blame? Well, it's the mismatch, right? It's the law of diminishing average returns. It's the law of diminishing marginal returns. So all of this is to be blamed on the mismatch. And apparently your boss has never heard of the law of diminishing marginal returns. All right, so in essence, that was the answer. You were to put all of this in a comprehensible essay. You see how easy it is? Your last name, course code, and alpha or beta or gamma or whatever. This way, I get to work faster. This way, my productivity increases. And I have more time to stare out the window.